Gentlemen, roll them on in. Roll them on in. Giuseppe D in the house. Mikey Bear Down Cuz in the house. How are we, boys? Welcome to the Brilliantly Dumb Show. Do we got anything? Is anybody going to say anything here this evening? Or am I doing a solo episode today? Are you with me, fellas? Mikey Bear Down Cuz, are you with me?
What's Joe's problem?
I have no problem. I was waiting to get let in.
A lot of hostility right out of the gate for no apparent reason.
Yeah, there's no hostility at all.
Are you mad about? Are you upset about the top five?
No,
I think he is.
I think he's upset about the top five. He's upset
Not at
about
all.
something, Joseph.
I'm a little upset about the top five. I thought he had a great top five selection.
You know the percentage of our audience that cares about WWE? Do you know?
By the way, it's a big day, Bob. Scott Hall, which you wouldn't know about because you didn't follow wrestling, they're going to pull the plug on him. And he was an absolute class. He was Razor Ramon. He was the guy. He was a legend.
Look, well, I
am. You don't watch TV or wrestling or any of these other things that the average person did.
That's not fair because we have a TV top five. We have a TV top five today. You alienate the audience going with WWE. I mean, come on. What type of debate is that going to spark?
I'd like to see
a big one.
I'd like to see a poll posted on the Brilliantly Dumb Show
of WWE. There's no way
whether or not they would like to see a top five that included wrestling or not.
I think they would.
It's going to be.
I think they would by a long shot. Bear down.
They would. I'm not upset at all about that. I'm upset a little bit about just the day in general. I just feel like Cuts is not in a good mood. It put me in a bad mood right off the bat.
Wow. Yeah. Now that
well, it's not my fault that you were getting, bear down. If we want to point the fingers there, you come after a friend of the pod on a live. I had
to be discussed.
I had absolutely no choice but to put my back against the wall. Look out for a guy who's confirmed, reached out. He's done an interview with Bob. He's been instrumental in our following, and you got to look out for those guys.
If we can reference what took place today, and I'm glad that you brought it to the table, Giuseppe, because I think it needs to be discussed. Christian Kirk.
I'm not going to listen. I'm going to forewarn you now. I'm not going to be censored on this.
I'm not going to be censored. We don't want you to be. We don't want.
I don't know.
Mikey, have we ever asked you to be censored here?
Yes.
Have we?
I mean, I've never been censored, and if I've never been censored, then surely you have not.
There's been a few things we've had to cut with you. There's things that you've said that the Jet has had.
I remember one in particular.
I remember multiple. That I'm telling you right now, had Jet not made those corrections, cancer culture's just swarming.
No,
it was a certain comment, a certain comment about a food establishment, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Food establishment.
You remember, Bob, a food establishment comment he made? You don't remember?
Food establishment.
A restaurant, and he made a comment. I'm not going to go into it. I'll text the group.
All right. I mean, we could ask the Jet. I mean, we've had to probably edit out 5 things that could have got us canceled from Cutsy, at least. Jet, how many times do you think you've had to edit out something that Cutsy said?
About somebody?
About anything.
Not often.
How much? 20. He says 20.
That's ridiculous. By the way, Bob, I don't think I'm cancelable. I'm like one of those people.
Oh, yeah, that's the famous
they all say.
The famous last words. The famous last words right there. Giuseppe.
I'm going to tell you, I would never allow you to be canceled, Joe.
Neither would I. That's why I had Jet
so against cancel culture, but it's cancel culture is such a stupid and real part of society today. It just speaks volumes to the soft pussy nation that we have to deal with on a daily. What? You're going to edit that out? I'm going to be censored.
You're canceled.
Just sack up.
You can't.
Yeah, I know.
It's a soft underbelly of society nowadays.
It really is. It really is, bro.
But before we get off that, we were getting carried off of the subject.
I want to get back.
I have a tendency to do that. Bear down knows that I can get.
I'm just prefacing that I want to be able to speak my mind when you
say what
all said and done, because I know what's about to happen. The pretzel masters are about to go to work in the kitchen. They're kneading the dough. Cutsy's kneading the dough. Bob's got the salt ready. The oven's warm. They're going to toss these pretzels in and fucking spit them out, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, Bear Dad, how could you do that? You're such a scumbag." Blah blah blah. Okay, go ahead. Now go ahead.
So
I
what
will
took
tell the
place
truth.
today is Mikey V goes on live, Instagram live. He goes on about 3 of them per day. And we come in, me and Cutsy are together, and we come into the Mikey V live, and Mikey V
there it
is going on a tangent about a dear friend of the pod who not only has come on the podcast, but somebody that I consider a friend and somebody that is absolutely a book job for a Bob the Sports episode.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk signed a big deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And good for him. Give him a little congratulations.
And good for
Very happy for him.
We come in, Mikey V, instrumental part of the podcast, to Mikey V just burying the guy on how he doesn't deserve the money. It's a huge stretch from Jacksonville. And you know what? We want you to say how you feel, Mikey V, but there comes a point in time where you do have to protect friends of the pod. And I feel that by no means was Christian Kirk protected there by any means. And, you don't know. Maybe Christian Kirk follows you and comes to you bashing him. Gutsy, I'll let you take it from there, and then we'll bring Bear down to the stand.
Well, I just think it's not fair because we haven't seen a body of work where he's one of the main go-to guys.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say right now, Christian Kirk gets at least 10 touchdowns this year, and you can bet over under on that. But I'm telling you right now, he's going to have an instrumental season with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'd like to revisit this at some point and bear down if he catches 10 or more touchdowns. I'd like you to say, I was wrong. Christian Kirk is an elite athlete and worthy and deserving of this contract. And if not, then I will eat some humble pie.
Bear down, we will send it over.
Bear down is frozen.
I'm gonna let me start here. Okay. This has nothing to do with Christian Kirk, the person, at all. Christian Kirk today was paid. And when you said good for him, I was going to start this whole spiel I have. I was going to start with number one. I want to say good for Christian Kirk and great for Christian Kirk's agent. Tremendous job negotiating with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tremendous. This is what I'm going to say. Christian Kirk got paid today a salary that will make him a top 10 paid wide receiver in the game of football in the NFL. If either of you, putting aside the fact that he's your buddy and your pal, that's nice. I mean, I got a lot of buddies and pals. I mean, but when push comes to shove, if you're going to sit there and tell me that he deserves to be paid as a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL, you could go ahead and say it. I'm not going to subscribe to that because it's simply not true. He's getting paid $18 million a year with the potential to make $21 million a year. Okay. Now that's more than Devontae Adams' tag is worth. He's better than Devontae Adams, Joe. Is he better? Okay, no. Thank you. But again, good on him for getting the deal done. Great on his agent. I'm happy for him. Guy took advantage of the Jaguars and got royally paid. And if I was him, I would be ecstatic. And if I was buddy with him, I would have shot him a text message and said, bro, congratulations. That's fucking amazing. But I have a duty to do my due diligence also. And by my estimation, this man got paid today like he is the number one wide receiver. And he wasn't even the number one wide receiver on his team. This year it was DeAndre Hopkins. I don't see him as an upper echelon wide receiver. Perhaps he does go there. And Joe, if he breaks out and has a 12 touchdown season, over 1,000 yards, which by the way, he's never posted an over 1,000-yard receiving season in his career. If he does that, I'm just stating the facts. If he does that, I will eat humble pie. I will say, wow, what a great signing by Jacksonville. All I'm pointing out is he reset the market for the wide receiver free agency.
That's why Bear Down's mad.
It's bad business for the Jaguars. It's bad business for all the other teams because they overpaid the guy. They overpaid and overvalued him. I spoke to 2 NFL players today. 2 after the deal was done.
Urlacher and Alex Brown. Urlacher and Alex Brown.
I'm not going to name who I spoke to. I'm not going to reveal my sources. I'm not going to.
I can name them for you. I can name the 2 guys for you, Bear Down.
Number one, if you take a look at the history of the players that I've spoken to over the years, and it's public, it's all out there. You know damn well that I know more than 2 players in the NFL. Okay. I spoke to 2 players in the NFL.
I spoke to Devin Hester, Rex Grossman. I also spoke to Tariq Cohen. I'd
like to say something quickly here. I like to say what's actually going on here.
You know what they said? Can I just finish and say what the
Go ahead.
Or do people want to listen to the 2 guys and the 3rd guy who didn't play in the NFL? All I'm telling you, guys who signed big NFL deals in the past, guys who have played in the league, the first words out of their mouth were good for him. The second thing that they both said was that deal is ridiculously absurd. That is absurd. The man was overpaid. Now he reset the market. Again, I'm going to say, God bless. Good for Christian Kirk. I'm happy for Christian Kirk. I think the deal itself, and I'm entitled to say this, was ludicrous. And you had verified beat writers on Twitter all day saying that this was a fireable offense for Jacksonville front office, for the guy who made this deal. He was significantly overpaid. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Doesn't mean I wouldn't be a buddy of his and buy him a beer.
But you know what, though, Joseph,
he should be buying me the beer.
You
quite
know,
honestly.
Joseph, you would think there would be some sort of protection for a good friend of the pod, not a guy that just stopped by. You would think that there would be. It was we logged on to Bear Down on the Stairmaster, going on a fucking
rant on a tangent,
as if the Bears were the one who dished out.
Well, that's what it is, Bears. That's what it is the Bears, and you can pull the wool over a lot of people's eyes. But you can't pull it over my eyes. The reason Bear Down's mad is because they need a receiver. And now that Christian Kirk has reset the market, he's now going to be limited to what receiver the Bears are going to get.
By the way, you're wrong on that.
Could very well be.
You're wrong. You're wrong on that. You know why? Because every receiver now is going to try to use this as a bargaining chip, and every NFL owner and GM every NFL GM is going to tell them that that market and that deal is not going to be their bargaining chip. They're not going to be able to use that as a bargaining chip. Because every front office guy. And why didn't you see any other receivers get signed today then? Why were no other receivers signed after that deal? Why? Because I guarantee every asshole agent now, and not saying Christian Kirk's agent is a genius. Guy's a magic worker. Guy is a Jedi Knight, as far as I'm concerned, because he weaved. He's like
he also had a pretty good year
because he weaved some fucking magic over Jacksonville, over Duval County, and he made magic happen today.
I do want to get into something for a second here, because it was preposterous, and that's the way this man is, and it's why we love him, and it's why he's here week after week. About me? No, I'm not talking about you, Mikey.
Well, you're talking about me?
I'm talking about
finally
Joey Cold Cuts with the whole Tom Brady rant. He went on a rant about Tom Brady on Instagram, and it just was sick. It was just.
I've got overwhelming support from the followers on.
You did not get overwhelmed.
You told me you got ripped by the followers. That they were all.
I got ripped by a few.
You know what's amazing? He told me the exact same thing.
No, I've actually had. I can show you DMs. I've had overwhelming support.
I thought we left the flip flops at the pool.
By the way, Baron, you want to talk about the voice of the voiceless? This is what the voice of the voiceless says: is that people are scared to comment on Tom Brady because yes, he's the best quarterback of all time. That doesn't mean
player of all time.
That is preposterous. But he is not the best player of all time. He's the best quarterback of all time. He's not an athletic freak like you would get out of like some of these other players that have played before. You tell me that Lawrence Taylor is not a better player or a better athlete
of all time. He's not the best athlete.
Lawrence Taylor would run circles around Tom Brady. He's 40. He can barely run.
Where are we going? Yeah, where are we going there?
I'm saying he's not the best athlete of all time. He's the best quarterback of all time. He's not an athletic freak.
Joe, he's saying the best football player of all time, which is absolutely
the pretzel
correct.
Master is back to work. He's
the best athlete of all time. And by the way, Tom Brady's not exactly an athletic specimen. He is an unbelievable quarterback. He's the best quarterback to ever play the game. And I'm not taking away from that. I never said otherwise. The problem is that
Cutsy has a problem that he doesn't feel that Tom Brady is a family man.
Let me finish my topic, Bob, and then you guys can chime in.
Wait. Joe, he's not an athletic specimen. Let me ask you a question. Would you sign up to look like Tom Brady looks by the time
that doesn't mean you're an athletic specimen. Oh, that guy could barely run. You go back to the combine. The guy was a fucking.
But what is that? Where are we going? But where are we going? Why does that doesn't matter?
I haven't been able to finish and formulate my sequence here, Bob, and you guys are chiming in like fucking little birds.
It ended up with comparing Lawrence Taylor to Tom Brady.
Because Bear Down said that he's the best athlete of all time, and that's
I did not. No, I did not. I said he's the best football player of all time.
We got to reel it in.
Did I not say that?
Okay, let me finish what I have to say.
That's correct.
The bottom line, this guy should not be able to be let off the hook for shit that he does just because he's the best quarterback to play. And here's where it is if Aaron Rodgers did the shit that Tom Brady just did right now, I would be getting fucking destroyed for it. Aaron Rodgers would be getting destroyed for it. But because it's Tom Brady, oh, he's such a good guy. Oh, Tom Brady, the best quarterback ever. He can do whatever he wants. That's horseshit. And by the way, Bob, I will say this. The guy took 2 months off to spend time with his family, which was of the utmost importance to him. And he couldn't even last more than 2 months spending time with his family before he'd rather go back to getting a punishment on the football field because he can't handle being a family guy.
At least he has a
What do you have to say about that?
Rodgers has been totally ostracized from his family. Doesn't even have a family to hang out with.
Wow. Yeah.
This isn't about Aaron Rodgers. That's what I keep saying.
Oh, you brought up
people say, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers." I don't agree with what
Aaron
Aaron Rodgers does with his antics, Bear Down. I tell you that all the time. I don't agree with it. I think he's a bit of a fucking nut job. But I respect him because he's my quarterback and because he laces up the pads and he goes out there every single week and he plays his heart out and he does the Lord's work on the football field. But I'm not saying that I'm all about.
If Tom Brady was the Packers quarterback, you would still have the same feelings about him? If Tom Brady was the Packers quarterback?
Yes, you can't do this shit. By the way, he never even thanked Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, or the New England Patriots fucking franchise when he retired, who made him what he was.
Yes, he did, Joe.
It was a backhanded fucking compliment. He barely even thanked them. He went on a tangent about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who he played 2 seasons with.
It's okay to have the opinion. You know where you stoop to, that it's an all-time low, and you've gone there multiple times, and I got to call you for it. It's been said mostly when there's a bet on the game, but it was said about the Tom Brady is wishing for the injury.
Oh,
he's gone there. Giuseppe has
Oh.
gone numerous times where he wishes.
I didn't say. You tell me where I said that.
Joseph, you don't want to go down that road.
There was a little comment the other night.
You don't want to go down.
I never said anything about injury.
I believe the words were, "I wouldn't be heartbroken if an ACL was torn this year."
Don't
something
take
along
the
those
ACL.
lines. That's
don't
not
go
accurate,
that
Joe?
route, Giuseppe.
I'm just saying he's an older guy. There's a high percentage that it could happen.
Christ, man.
Not with his training regimen. Not with his diet.
I'm sick and tired of this
nightshade
fucking guy.
vegetables.
And you know what? I'm actually happy he's back because when the Packers go through the Bucs and this guy's thrown away like yesterday's garbage, I'm going to be the one who says, this guy's done, and then he'll retire for good, and the Packers will win the NFC going through him. I'm happy. It's like when Bear Down says he's happy that Rodgers is back so the Bears can beat the Packers with Aaron. I don't want to hear a pity party about the Packers winning the NFC because there's no competition.
4 days ago,
I will tell this. I do feel, as an outside party here looking in, I do feel that Bear Down had been very hostile towards Giuseppe in the stories of late.
Yes.
I do feel that Bear Down has really
been coming for blood lately.
He has been coming for blood.
No. And by the way, Davante Adams, he said, they're at such a difficult position with Davante Adams. They're going to sign him. Everybody knows that. It's common knowledge. But yeah, there's been a lot of stories directed at me, and I've bit my tongue. And, and this Tom Brady thing is just, I'm telling you right now, this guy he gets way too much slack.
Okay.
Too much.
Let's keep it moving here, gentlemen. Okay. Let's keep it moving. I like the hostility. I like the energy we're getting today. Let's go over to our buy or sell. What did you see this week outside of Tom Brady that you didn't like? What did you see that you did like? Buy or sell portion of the show. Do you want me to start us off, gentlemen? That's pretty much me saying that I'm going to go ahead and start us off. If you boys
go ahead and
mind.
start us off. Gotta cool down over here.
I was in Austin, Texas, and I want to buy Texas. I was South by Southwest. The state of Texas, I think Joe Rogan kind of started the whole thing about people wanting to go to Texas and how great Texas is. It really is special. I was in Austin, which they say is like the LA of Texas. First off, shout out Terry Black's Barbecue. I've never been to a restaurant where I enjoyed the food so much that I bought the hat or I bought any type of merchandise. This barbecue, I showed up at 10 in the morning. It was out of this world. Absolutely out of this world. But you know what I do want to say, though, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, Giuseppe. Brisket has such a good name to it. People love brisket, and that's like their main thing. Of all the things that they had on the tray, it probably had the least flavor out of all the things that are on the brisket.
Shame.
It really is. Now, I want you to look. I sent it to the Gamblers Digest chat. Okay, so as good as it was, and I'm buying Texas, people were great. Hospitality is great. Look at the Gamblers Digest chat. Okay, me and a guy that I was down there with went out to get this barbecue. How much do you think that platter was worth? This, to me, I had to get banged.
$25.
That platter, you thought was $25?
I'd say, yeah. Well, with all those sides and stuff, I'd say you're looking at least $18 to $25.
This is so sick. This is so
If you were in LA, that platter would have cost $100.
No, it wouldn't. That's ridiculous.
You guys are going to be.
This is the platter right here. That's not. There's three pieces.
I see it, but in LA, they tell you that it's some special animal that they got it off.
Yeah, I'm saying in Dallas, Texas, that should be
you guys.
Oh, in Texas, I bet you it was like $12.
You guys are going to be sick to your stomach. I got banged. You ready for this? And I'm not joking. I could show you the receipt if you need me to show the receipt. Take a look at that plate of barbecue. Go way higher. Go way higher.
Why are you 65. Buying this place when they fucking bench you and didn't even lube you up?
Bear down, go way higher than 65.
I said 100 in LA. How much was it?
Go higher.
That is outrageous.
I'm not joking. I'm not.
Why are you promoting them when you got banged?
This to me is you know what? First off, it was on the company's dollar, so I didn't think as much about it, but it did sit in. That's
how much did you pay for this?
That's a terrible quote, by the way. They start you off with the sides. So they do an assembly line. You do the sides, and then you get to the main stuff. Now,
I know. I've been to Dallas.
Look at the size. I was in Austin. Look at the size of those. look at the size of those. Is that a spare?
That is highway fucking robbery.
You ready for this? I didn't even say the number yet.
$125.
$130.
That is absolutely outrageous. You could have gotten the whole rotisserie chicken, and you could have gotten more stuff for that price. That is
chicken.
Now you
never had barbecue rotisserie chicken?
I'm saying you could have got a Wagyu steak for that price.
Well, that's my point, is that he could have got a lot more. They should have been $25, maybe $30.
Something's not right?
And you're promoting them wearing their hat, trying to get the average guy to get banged up for more money. That doesn't add up,
Bob. I gotta tell you what, Joe, you're not wrong.
Selling that, not buying it, Bob.
You're not wrong.
Maybe you should reassess the buy-sell segment, because you just talked yourself into a corner.
I sure as hell did. I mean, do you believe
that is an outrageous? And you know what? I'm sorry to the Doing Things guys for having to pay for that, because you could have had a steak dinner for fucking
something ain't right. Now, mind you, we had 2 sodas.
But Bobby, I worked at a Michelin star restaurant.
That was my next question. Whether
this was before I bought the merch.
Everything, but sodas.
I bought the merch after the meal. By the way, the merch. Something's not right there.
You got a steak at our restaurant, which is a Michelin star restaurant, for under $100.
Did you know, Mikey Bear Down Cuz, that Joe does indeed work at a Michelin star restaurant?
I don't even think he realizes that he said Michelin star restaurant 2 times within 10 seconds there. Yeah. I don't even think it registers in his brain.
It was to prove a point, Bear Down, of how outrageous the price tag of that meal was.
I would like to say something.
That's outrageous. That's outrageous. I'm sorry.
Speaking of outrageous, Fat Perez was in town. We talked about that a bit. Fat Perez was in town, and Cold Cuts came through again. Cold Cuts had us at this Michelin star restaurant, and we're very tight with the chef. And the chef pretty much said that he was going to send some things out, just a few things out here and there. Fat Perez has no appetite. He has no palate whatsoever. He barely eats,
which is an oxymoron,
because everything that this chef would send out there was nothing that Fat Perez could eat. I mean, we're talking lobster, we're talking Wagyu, he couldn't do it. So they had to bring him a thing of shrimp cocktail, and the shrimp cocktail
Love a good shrimp cocktail.
But bear down, it sat in front of him throughout the entire meal. So by the time the meal was over, it was just
you thought the shrimp were going to get up and swim away by the time the meal was done. And Perez was just sitting there like, it's like, bro, at some point, just say, I don't want to eat it. I think he was trying to like, well, they also gave him like, Perez got like 3 dozen fucking shrimp. It wasn't like 8 or 9. Like it was a bounty. I told Chef, I said, he's not going to eat anything. The only thing he told me he's going to eat is shrimp cocktail. So they brought him abundance and he couldn't eat it. I've never seen a guy, and it's crazy to me. He's a big guy. He doesn't eat, bear down. He does not eat.
It's really bizarre.
I mean, it's an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense. It's like the Sixth Sense or something.
By the way, I'll tell you something that's devastating. Sorry to cut you off.
He drinks his calories.
He does.
The day before that we went to the foreplay match, something that he does eat is Taco Bell. I got food poisoning from what I believe was the Taco Bell, and I'm at a standstill now to where I can't. You get food poisoning from somewhere. That's it. That's it. We had a ramen place that me and Joe. I mean, it's the best ramen in LA, and I got food poisoning that
ridiculous.
day.
You won't touch it again.
It wasn't even from there. It was from a different place. But because I have the memory of that day, I can't. I might be done on Taco Bell.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. I would lie to you if I said I didn't eat Taco Bell when I'm intoxicated. I don't ever get a sober craving really, unless I'm severely hungover or if I'm bombed, and then I could get a craving for Taco Bell. But like stone sober, just driving around, I'm never like, oh boy, let me go hit T-Bell up right now. I need that.
I'll tell you, my buy or sell was a flop.
That was an app.
That was all. That the boy did that back. I mean,
it started as a buy and it ended as a sell. I'd like to give mine.
Has his hand up, so let's go over to Giuseppe.
I'm gonna give like 2 and 1. First off, Scottsdale, spring break, bear down. I mean, you're maybe not gonna go there with the kids or
yes,
anything.
Joe.
I tell you what, this place in spring break is euphoric. I've never seen anything. This was crazier than Vegas. These clubs, man, the women pouring out of this place. It's just like. It was like paradise, Bob. I'm not joking. You could laugh.
Yeah, talk to me.
It was unbelievable.
You're putting Bear down.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, he doesn't mean that. No, he don't mean that. He don't mean that.
I mean, what do you mean? I'm saying you're not going to bring the family for spring break, but I'm just saying, like Bob and myself, like like a
Bob and yourself. I mean, you preface this with bear down, Scottsdale.
I normally say
the women are pouring out of the closet.
I have a bad tendency when I try to make a point. I say bear down. I like the reaffirmation from you, knowing that if you agree with me, it's probably likely true. So that was a natural tendency.
For 2 eligible bachelors such as yourselves, it sounds like a glorious.
It was amazing. It was unbelievable. So that's my first, and the second is I'm going to double down and say the Packers are still going to win the NFC Championship this year, and that's what I'd like to buy down as well.
And if you watch the way it took place last year, it's just he was ready to buy the Super Bowl tickets. It is.
I'm not buying the Super Bowl. I'm buying the NFC Championship. The Super Bowl is a little more tough.
We head over to Mikey V. Buy or sell?
Well, I'm going to sell, and I was there for a week. I'm going to sell, not Colorado.
Christian Kirk?
I thought it was beautiful. I've already sold. I'm not selling Christian Kirk. I'm selling the deal. It was a horrible deal. Anyway, I'm selling the ski culture. I witnessed this week for a week straight of a subculture of people that are obsessed with skiing and snowboarding. And I suppose I understand it, but by my estimation, it is like golf in that a majority of people that are doing this are solely doing it for an excuse to get up early in the morning, hit the slopes, and then hit happy hour very hard at like 2:00.
Yeah, apparatus.
Which I have no issue with whatsoever. But skiing and snowboarding, I got to tell you, what an involved thing this is.
Did you try it once, Bear Down?
No, absolutely not.
So you can't sell it if you never tried it.
you're interrupting. This is my buy or sell, Joe. I'm selling it. Okay. The amount of equipment that these people have to travel with at a distance, you got the regular luggage, then you got the skis, then they got the boots, then you got to have special gloves, then you got to have all these layers of special clothing. You got to have a helmet. You got to have goggles. I mean, to me, it just seems like it's so much to do for just to go down a hill. I just don't get it. I'll never get it, but God bless the people that love it. Good for you. All I'm saying is the subculture of skiing and snowboarding in and of itself, I'm selling it. For me personally, I just think, like some casual golfers, I think it is an excuse to get up early in the morning, go do an activity in order to, and I saw people, I mean, these people love to hit the bars after they're done.
I'll say I can't speak enough to the skiers because I don't, I'm not a skier, but I'll say this. It does probably seem nice to where after you do go up and down the slopes, you get a full day in. It does have to be nice to then rally at the bar and then really, and I think
like I assume playing 18 is.
There you go.
Like I assume it's the same. I mean,
there you go.
And it's just two activities I don't partake in. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe
you never did it. So you can't say you're doing it wrong if you didn't do it.
I've played golf before.
You've never skied. You're selling the ski culture, but you never skied once.
I could
maybe if you had the exhilaration of going down the mountain at a fast-paced speed, you're a guy who enjoys Peloton and getting after it. You might become very, very involved. You might really enjoy it. It's an exhilarating thrill. Going down the mountain with going in and out of trees. It's exhilarating.
It's more exhilarating.
What?
Squeezing out a first half over under.
Yes, I agree with that, Bear Down. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I'd love to see you try the skiing thing. I think I'm
going to tell you right now, I'm too tall. That's another problem. Like I feel like if I fell, listen, Joe, when I fall,
there's an avalanche.
Is a lot more severe. It's a lot more severe from where I'm coming from. If I fall, there's a real serious chance that I might break many bones.
Bear Down, I know the height has been a hot button for you, especially of recent, but I will tell you this, Joe.
It really is, Bob.
To go into Bear Down's man cave, and we're setting something up for the end of April, to go down to Bear Down's man cave and to watch this man try and dodge the ceiling with every step.
It's sad, isn't it, Bob?
It's one of the funniest things I think you will. It is an absolute riot to watch him.
Just imagine having to live like that.
Step having to duck. It's unbelievable.
You know what it reminds me of, Bob? Oh no, Bob would never watch this. Bear Down, have you ever watched the movie Entrapment with Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones?
I just like the name right out of the gate.
Yes. When they have to go underneath the lasers and they have to I can imagine you just ducking and dodging.
Like out of habit, because I've been doing it basically my whole life. When I walk through like a regular door frame, if I just walk through a door, I have a tendency to hunch. And like, I'm going to have a hunch when I get older.
Yeah, that's not good for posture.
I'm going to be one of the, I know it's not. I'm going to be one of those old guys walking around with a hunchback. And then maybe everyone who laughed at me will be like, wow, this poor fucking guy, now he's a hunchback.
Cutsy, have you ever seen the side-by-side of Bear Down and Shaq?
No. We talked last week about a side-by-side with Jerry and him.
There's a side-by-side of Bear Down and Shaq, because the first time we met Bear Down in the Patreon happy hour, we didn't believe him how tall he was. So what does he do? He pulls out a picture of him and Shaq for reference. And
when did you meet Shaq?
I met him back in Philadelphia back in 2017. Great
he's
guy.
From
Newark, New Jersey.
He's the big contract guy that he talked to after the Christian Kirk.
The diesel would agree.
Gentlemen,
so good.
I want to get into a top five here, folks. We interrupt the Brilliant Dumb Show to let you know that the Brilliant Dumb Show is brought to you by our good friends over at Athletic Greens. I do Athletic Greens because I need that extra spark in my life. I want the energy. I want the better gut health, and you should too. Athletic Greens has vitamins. They have supplements and drinks that help your day-to-day physical activities and, most importantly, your health. Your subscription with Athletic Greens comes with a year's supply of vitamin D, which is so important to add in these winter months and beyond. Get Athletic Greens to make it easy. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/dumb. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/dumb to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. It is a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. Take care of your health the same way Bobby Fairways does. That's with Athletic Greens. Buy now. Okay, I want to get into a top 5. This is a good top 5. It's not a wrestling top 5, which I think benefits all of us. I think it benefits the program. And what we're going to be doing is top 5 cartoon characters. That is top 5 all-time cartoon characters. And now, Beardown, I know you weren't happy about the wrestling going, but you do have to say that's a good top 5. No,
a very good top 5. I just disagree wholeheartedly that top 5 wrestlers would not resonate with the audience, because I think every man between the ages of, I'm going to say 23 and 40. I'm going to say every male between the ages of 23 and 40, at one point or another, at least watched wrestling for a brief period. Joe, would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, and I said at the beginning, I'd like a poll. I think you'd be shocked at the results. Bob, you're not a normal guy in terms of your upbringing. Like, there's stuff you don't watch movies. You don't watch. No, I'm not saying. Wow. I'm just saying that you don't know a lot of things that the average person does.
You're not a normal guy.
Brandon, would you disagree? He doesn't know movies, he doesn't know wrestling, he doesn't know, like, there's a lot of stuff that
his knowledge of certain areas does baffle me.
It's very limited in certain areas.
But then other
now,
areas,
I will say, Bob, other areas he exceeds his knowledge. Like, yes. You could tell every commentator for the last 20 years in sports, which is not normal. But the average things, like, even I'm not going to lie, Bear, I'm intrigued to hear his list for the cartoon characters, because I think it's going to drastically differ from yours and mine. Keep in mind, too, in that sense, he's of a different generation. So, Bear, I'd like to think that, us being a little older, we will have different characters, and I hope we're true to ourselves, that we followed in our youth than Bob did,
I appreciate that, Joe. And that is true. And I think people tend to forget. I think you two tend to forget that you guys got 6-7 years on me.
Well, you're an old soul, Bob. So,
yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
And by the way, I will just say, I have finally dug into Sopranos.
And he's loving it. He's loving it.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm really,
we can have some serious conversations about that.
I'm where I need to be. The problem is, everybody said you have to get over a certain hump in the first season, like the Game of Thrones. Apparently you have to get through everybody with the Game of Thrones says you got to get by the first season. Well, yeah, that's 10 hours. So, I'm not just going to throw 10 hours down the drain.
And I personally think when you finish it, you're going to look back and say the first season was phenomenal. That's what happened with me with Thrones. I was the same way. I thought the first couple Thrones seasons were just so much better than, the last one's the production and the money that they spent. Unbelievable. But I still think the storylines in the first couple seasons, Joe, the buildup and everything was.
In Sopranos, the character development that you get from the mom and the relationship with Tony will end up dictating how he acts throughout the entire rest of the series. And it really gives an in-depth preview. If you were to skip the first season, that's a big part of the reason he's in therapy to begin with, is because his childhood coming up was so fucked up because of his mom, and then his dad was in the mob, that he didn't know how to cope with things as an average, regular, everyday young man. And so a lot of the things he goes through and his anger and all these things that you'll see later on, it's triggered from the first season.
What though? I cannot watch a movie with Joe, because throughout the show, he'll be like, watch this, Bob. Watch this. Are you watching this, Bob?
Because he doesn't pay attention, Bear Down. He's on his phone. He's looking at something, like a key part of the movie is unfolding, and I want him to get that experience.
Even in like the theaters, first off, his laugh is so tremendously loud in the theaters.
I think it's great.
It shocks the theater, but also he'll talk to you throughout the movie, and he's so loud when he talks to you.
That's a little something.
I've been with him, and I've been to one movie with him, and within the first 10 minutes of the movie, the person behind us asked us to shush because he doesn't realize how loud. It's like the golf tournament. We went to the golf tournament.
I got to be honest. If he's getting shushed at a movie theater, he's got to be happy about
multiple times.
He didn't tell tell the backdrop of that story is that I was on an edible and we were in a movie and I was laughing because I was high as hell. It wasn't my fault.
But Joe, it's not the laughing that got the guy behind us. It was the talking.
It was the laughing that got the shush.
You know, if
and it was in a horror movie, so there's not supposed to be laughing during a horror movie.
Well, there you go. You got a guy.
How was that? Well, it wasn't my fault. I was,
cracking up during a horror film, and the people behind us were upset. And I said, "That's the last movie."
He's watching Saw, and he's just laughing.
Cracking up.
What was that movie with what was it called? Us. This is Us, or something like that, where there's a family and
that's a television show. Yeah.
No, it's actually
This Is Us is a television show.
It was a movie. It's a movie about racism, and he is.
There's the black family, and then there was the alter ego.
Netflix. Yeah. Right.
It was in theaters.
The Jordan Peele.
Peele movie. It was really good. It came out a few years ago.
This Is Us, or
I gotta look this up now. This is gonna drive me nuts.
I mean, Bear Down, if you were to know the movie that he was laughing at, it was humiliating. I mean, he was high as a kite, but and they'll talk throughout it, and he's like,
it's called Us. It's called Us.
It's not on Netflix, that show?
Well, it's a movie. I mean, it might be.
It might be on Netflix
but
now.
He was so high, he couldn't stop laughing. It was.
I mean, it's actually a scary movie. This one.
Very.
Yeah. I think that's on Netflix.
Key and Peele or something like that.
Could be. And I tell you, if you go to Netflix, it wouldn't be under comedy.
No.
Yeah. I know, Bob.
Okay. Well, let's get in.
One thing I want to add, because he said Bob's always on the phone when he watches movies. I think we're all guilty of being on the phone too much. I think everyone is guilty of that.
He just doesn't pay attention.
Well, I have to tell you, in Colorado one night, we went to an amazing dinner, incredible dinner. Absolutely incredible. And you know what made the experience that much better? I said to myself, and I said to my wife, I said, I am leaving my Apple Watch at home.
Great.
And I'm leaving the iPhone at home. And I left it at the hotel for the whole night. And this sounds kind of pathetic because some people are like, oh, big deal. Now, if you're like one of us where social media is a big part of like what you do on the side, and it's like a big thing, especially for guys like us, like it enhanced the dinner and the experience with my family so much more, and it was really great. So,
was
like
this the lamb night?
Was I had a rabbit pot pie.
Because I was going to say the lamb night. You took a picture of the lamb, so I hope it wasn't the lamb night.
No.
If I may, the one time where I definitely will not, unless it's like me and something, like if me and Joe just go out to dinner, just us two, then I'll text and stuff like that. But at the dinner table, I do like to say, and Joe, I think you can agree with this, I don't really fuck with my phone at the dinner table because that is like my favorite times.
Yeah, for the most part, you're pretty good.
I mean, it's not easy, bro. It's not easy.
Okay, well, let's get into these top fives here, gentlemen. We're going to start off with Joey Coldcuts here. We're going to start off with Coldcuts top five. It's going to be top 5 cartoon characters.
I'm excited for this one.
Me too.
Be honest.
I have a little list here because it was tough for me to break it down. All right, here we go. At number 5, actually, this is tough, man. This is really, really tough. At number 5, I'm gonna go with the Looney Tunes. Was one of my favorite cartoons growing up, and Bugs Bunny for me was just all encompassing. The guy, he just brought it. He's like, he brought it every single week, and you always knew what you're getting with him. Bugs Bunny. I think it might be a little bit too low. That's number 5 for me is Bugs Bunny. Okay. Number 4, this one might get some backlash. All right. But I have to be honest of what I watched, growing up. And this is, this is not going to be a popular one, but Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, I thought was amazing. I loved Pokemon, and this is when I was a little bit older. I watched Pokemon. I know I'm going to get backlash on
What's the character's name?
Ash Ketchum. Ash Ketchum was the owner of Pikachu and Bulbasaur and Squirtle, and he was the Pokemaster. I really got wrapped up in the Pokemon. It was just a little bit later. I was older. But I got the trading cards. I was really into it. So Ash Ketchum at 4. That could break my list. But
yeah,
Baradon apparently agrees.
I just can't get over the name.
Ash Ketchum, got to catch them all.
Ash Ketchum. Yeah.
I tell you, Ash Ketchum did very well in Scottsdale.
He probably did. He was probably catching a lot more than Pokemon. I can tell you that much.
Oh my God.
All right, number three. This was when I was younger. Okay, and this one, Bear Down probably also can agree. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Watching that as a cartoon as a kid was so great. Michelangelo for me was the best of the Turtles. I
so
thought
it's Michelangelo though, is the right? Because
yes, Michelangelo.
Thinking, yeah, okay.
Michelangelo. He was the orange.
Yep.
Orange turtle, and just a hysterical, really, really funny. I could relate well to him. That was my third. Number two. Okay, I'm gonna go another amazing cartoon series I watched growing up called Recess. And I'm going to put TJ Detweiler as my number two cartoon character.
Okay.
You know, I think you guys, by the way, are going to be very surprised. You're going to get a lot of support on this. You never heard of Recess?
No, but
no, I have. I have. I just can't believe
TJ
that
Detweiler?
TJ Detweiler gets the 2 seed.
I mean, maybe that's going to be a big play with the public. I don't know.
I think a lot of people are going to really like that pick, by the way, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
You know, I actually think that's going to do well. And then number one for me is going to be from The Simpsons is Bart Simpson. I think is a forever character that you can relate to and enjoy. That's my 5 through 1. It's all over the place because I'm not just picking cartoons that I watched when I was a little kid, but I'm also picking cartoons that I watched when I was a little bit older. But those to me are the 5 staples of my list.
Yeah, no, that was exotic. I mean, I think the good thing about this list is you're going to see a little bit kind of all over the place with this. So I do like that. To me, I mean, the Ash Ketchum, you're going to have a lot of support, I think, with the Ash Ketchum. I think
so.
It's the TJ
people love
Detweiler.
Pokemon.
Yeah, the TJ Detweiler is going to where it gets wild. I'm actually going to go with, I struggled with the 5. I didn't struggle with anything after that. Number 5, I'm actually going to go with Hey Arnold, and I'm going to go with Arnold himself. I was a big Hey Arnold guy growing up. The longevity.
Can you name another character from that show? I can't.
Yeah. You got Olga.
What was his friend's name?
You got Olga Pataki. You got Jerry.
I just knew Arnold. He had the football shaped head.
Can I proceed,
Joe? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
You mind? We got Hey Arnold at 5. I got Bugs Bunny at 4. I mean, Bugs Bunny is a staple. I was never going to fight you on the Bugs Bunny thing, Joseph. I don't think you guys will fight me on the Bugs Bunny thing. And by the way, you know, a little more my era to leverage Bugs Bunny into even like a Space Jam just shows, you know, how much Bugs Bunny could do. Give me Bugs Bunny at 4. I'm actually not going to go with Bart Simpson. I'm going to go with Homer Simpson. I think, to me, I mean, to pick Bart over Homer to me is outrageous. I mean, I think you have to go.
Why is it outrageous?
I just think Homer's such a more big time character and just contributed so much more. I think so much more came from Homer Simpson. I got Homer Simpson at 3. Number 2, I think Bear Down will like this. I got Peter Griffin at 2.
Love that. Love
I
that.
mean, I've always been, and people give me a hard time, I've always been Family Guy over South Park. Big reason why Peter Griffin, Seth MacFarlane's unbelievable. And then number 1, I think he's got to be in the top 5. Just has got to be there. Number 1, SpongeBob SquarePants, to me, one of the most.
You watch SpongeBob SquarePants?
Yes. You know, how come everything that I choose, I got to be questioned on whether or not I want? I mean,
I got laughed out of the building for my Ash Ketchum pick.
But I didn't question you about watching it.
Well, I'm just saying I feel like that's a newer cartoon, Bear Down, no?
Yeah, I mean, my niece has watched that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, would you grow up?
But I mean, listen, again, that's Bob. Bob is more close to that generation. It's fair. It's fair.
I mean,
I wouldn't. That is not in my top 5. For all intents and purposes, that is a public vote that he thinks he's going to do well on. If I'm being honest,
that's a bunch of and shame on you, Joe. That is the most ridiculous thing that really is, because you know what, Joe, that challenges my integrity. That really does. And you do it time and time again.
I did twice.
For you to think, you just did it with Hey Arnold. You did it with
No, I didn't do it with
Bad.
Hey Arnold. I just asked because I didn't know. I did with Breaking Bad because I said he didn't watch the whole series.
To think that I would put SpongeBob SquarePants as my number one cartoon character and have not watched it is terrible. It's terrible. And I'm going to send it over to Bear Down with a real bad taste in my mouth.
Well, you don't need to have a bad taste in your mouth. I just don't. All the other ones I didn't challenge you on. SpongeBob SquarePants is a newer. Bear Down, am I wrong? It's a newer cartoon series.
Do you know what time when SpongeBob came out?
When?
I don't know. I'm about to find out.
Bob's Googling it right now.
SpongeBob SquarePants release.
It debuted a while ago.
By the way,
I remember some of my older nieces watching it. I have old nieces.
SpongeBob might have made his debut before TJ Whitweiler or Ash Ketchum.
TJ Hooker.
1999. I was 6 years old. So shame on me.
Yeah,
I don't think that I personally don't think it's.
I just could never get into Spy. Like I tried even watching. I just could never get. I could never get into it.
Has Dom ever seen SpongeBob SquarePants?
No, Bob, you know this. He's him and little Jerry are Peppa the Pig guys.
Peppa the Pig. Wait, but it's never. You and Holly have never had the discussion to show him SpongeBob SquarePants.
No, actually, I try and show Dom like old school cartoons. I try and show him like Garfield and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I try to get him into that, but he's stuck in his ways right now.
Dom is going to be like 7 years old and go into school and be like, "Did you guys see Shawshank Redemption? Because this is a film that I just."
Dom's going to do Dom.
Yeah, Dom.
Uncle Cuts would be very proud.
Yeah. All right,
Uncle Cuts would be very.
Let's bring it over to Mikey V.
All right, boys. Number 5. Nobody said him, and he's the Yabba Dabba Doo master. Fred Flintstone for me at number 5. Love Fred. Wilma, Barney. I was a Flintstones guy. I loved the Flintstones as a kid. And Fred, obviously, he was hysterical. I mean, he was just a big burly man. I love Fred. Number 4, I'm going to go with Eric Cartman. I thought Eric Cartman, when I was growing up, I thought South Park. Now, listen, Bob, I agree that Family Guy to me in terms of like wit is funnier than South Park, but I have had gut-wrenching out loud laughs thanks to Eric Cartman. Like I agree. Eric Cartman revolutionized cartoon characters.
I wasn't allowed to watch.
Never saw a cartoon. Yeah, right. And that made it all the more appealing to watch, is that you wanted to watch it. And after my 4 pick, me and Bob are very similar. So Fred Flintstone at 5, Cartman at 4, 3, Peter Griffin. I got Peter Griffin at 3. I think Peter Griffin, the wit, Seth MacFarlane, some of the lines that Peter Griffin comes out with, his voice, everything, I just think it's hysterical. Number 2, I got Bugs. I think Bugs has to be given his credit. He's survived the test of time. You want to talk about cancel culture? Watch some of the earliest Looney Tunes that they made. Okay.
Really?
Bugs.
Yeah.
Yes. Wild stuff. Just type into YouTube old controversial Looney Tunes and watch some of the stuff. Bugs Bunny number 2.
Not to go for Bugs.
I love Bugs.
You can go at Aunt Jemima. You're not going to go at Bugs Bunny. People know not.
You can't go at Bugs. They went at Lola.
That's ridiculous.
Changed her whole physique and her outfit.
That's outrageous.
God forbid a woman looks like a woman. Another testament to this society.
Gutsy, a little bit of a drum roll here for the one here, please.
The number 1 is of no surprise. Bob mentioned him. He's the king of Duff beer. It's Homer Simpson. I mean, Homer Simpson to me is, Homer, the Simpsons, when I was a little kid, the Simpsons were churning out new episodes. I'm 36 and I think they're still churning out new episodes. Are they not? It's remarkable what they did. I think Homer was like the quintessential dad character, and I think he set the tone for a lot of other characters that kind of developed off him, much like Cuts. You mentioned Tony Soprano before. Tony Soprano, Walter White, a lot of people modeled, I think, cartoon dad characters.
Who's Walter White?
Right.
That's funny. Your list is fantastic. The problem is I would put
Homer
Cartman
1, Bugs 2, Griffin 3, Cartman 4, Fred 5.
Now, let me ask you this honestly. Do you think Cutsy dropped the ball with going with Bart over Homer?
I just prefer Homer. I think Homer's funnier. I like Bart. Don't get me wrong. Like
See,
Bart maybe would be an honorable mention. He's not my honorable mention, but I mean, I could see it.
This is the thing where I'm gonna get screwed on is because I went based on like cartoons when I was growing up, what I liked. So the characters as well. But no, but Baradon, let me say is that Cartman absolutely would be on my list, as would probably Family Guy. But I didn't watch that until I was older. I wasn't allowed to watch that. So I'm not going to put on my list of like favorite cartoon characters because to me, it's like cartoons resonate with what I watched growing up when I was younger. So
but South Park came out in like the mid 90s. I mean, I wasn't allowed
to watch
not
it.
even 10 years old yet. I don't think.
No, I know, but I'm saying I couldn't watch it.
4 or 5 years after SpongeBob.
No,
it was before SpongeBob.
Yeah, South Park been around for a minute, Bob.
I just was never allowed to watch it because it was a controversial show. My parents didn't allow me to watch.
Yeah, it was on Comedy Central on there at like 10:30 at night. It was
and now since then I've watched all of them because I think South Park is just a brilliant show.
Yeah,
gentlemen, it's very funny. We got honorable mentions. I'll start us off. Again, you guys probably don't even know him now that I've seen this. Jimmy Neutron. To me,
I know who that is.
You do know Jimmy Neutron?
Yes, I know who it is.
This is neat for me because it really is. I think what shows different eras more than anything and different generations is cartoons. The difference in, you know what I mean, in generations, like there's the biggest gap is always cartoons, I feel like. I got Jimmy Neutron, honorable mention.
That's not, they had a movie about him, didn't they? Jimmy Neutron.
I hope not.
They did. Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, I think.
Yeah, see, I mean, like, why do that, you know?
Mine was a mix-up between Bear Down's Fred Flintstone and also Batman. The Batman animated series was awesome. It was really cool. They really got you to understand and learn all the bad character, like the bad guys, and get to know the whole culture behind it. And Batman, to me, I watch it every Saturday morning at 9:00. Batman was a staple. So those would be my
Batman.
Awesome.
Mikey V?
That or Fred Flintstone. I'll put Batman.
Batman.
I'll take Batman.
It was a toss-up also between two cartoon characters, both animal characters. It was between Garfield and Scooby-Doo for me. And I went with Scooby-Doo.
Wow, Scooby-Doo not making any of the cuts is really
Shaggy.
He made my honorable mention. Love Scooby.
Tell you, great ice cream. If you see the ice cream truck come around, that Scooby-Doo bar.
The Push Pops?
Yep.
Oh, I remember the Push Pop.
No, not the Push Pop. It's like it's on a stick.
Yeah, I know. Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Really, really good ice cream. And gentlemen, really good podcast. If you are in Austin, Texas, the last place you want to go is Terry Black's Barbecue. It is a fucking racket.
I'm gonna say right out of the gate, I think Bear Down's gonna win this top 5. I really do. You know, I won the last week, so I can take a week off. I won last week's, by the way. Majority votes.
I mean, we didn't do a poll, even though Instagram.
Well, if you look on Instagram,
polling,
I would be interested, Bob. What's our record at? Where we stand? Because you and I got to be
up there. I mean, Bear Down got one, and then he saw a couple more, go through, and he's been scratching and clawing. He's been fighting an uphill battle ever since. I mean,
this one, I think he might get the dub here. I think he might get the dub.
The time will tell. I'll tell you.
I'm not getting the dub this week.
Bob, do you know where my bachelor party was? Way back when?
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Austin, Texas.
Fucking Texas. This Terry Black's what I can't. I'm telling you, I
didn't need a Terry Black's. I can tell you that. But
I can't believe that.
Austin, Texas.
I can't fucking believe. If you had a Terry Black's, you wouldn't be in the house right now. You certainly wouldn't have the basement. You'd be in the apartment. That's terrible.
Be living in the streets with a cup in my hand, begging for change.
I can't believe that. It's crazy. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Boys, love you. Appreciate you. Till next time.
Love you guys.
The brilliantly done.
Love you, boys.